Hey everyone, welcome back to the Bry-Fy Podcast. I'm your host, Bry-Fy the Comics Guy, and thank you for joining me again on my YouTube channel. This week, what I mentioned in the last podcast and what I've mentioned on Twitter and stuff, if you follow me all there, I'm going to be reviewing a graphic novel. I want to do at least one every month this year, along with the comic books that I had to review. This week, this month, so it's the second week of the month, we're going to talk about Frank Miller's Batman Year One. And I don't know how many people are familiar with this story or if you've read it. It's a really good Batman story. It retells the origins of Batman, Bruce Wayne, and also of Jim Gordon, how he he doesn't get to it in this point, but you know, his eventual rise to Commissioner Gordon. He starts off as a lieutenant. Anyway, that's more in the story, more into the reviews right there. But just a little background for y'all. Of course, Frank Miller writes it. David, I'm going to probably butcher this name, Mazzucchelli, maybe. He does the artwork on it. Then we have Richmond Lewis, Todd Klein. Lewis does the colors, Klein does letters on it. And of course, Batman was created by Bob Kane, Bill Finger back in, almost put a wrong date there. But Batman Year One is created in 1986, which is 2 years before I was born, just so you guys know how young I really am, or how old I am, depending on, I don't know. I'm at that weird age now where it's like people that are younger than me are like, wow, he's kind of old, or the people that are older than me are like, he's still young, like what's going on there? Like, so it's a weird thing. But in this one, if you're ever looking for the single issues of Batman Year One, it's going to be issue 404. Sorry, I was looking at my, gotta stop that, the playback screen. It's weird. I'm getting used to the camera, guys. 404, 405, 406, and 407 of the Batman single issues. If you want to try finding the singles, of course, it's super easy just to find the graphic novel, pick that up, and read it. It's really great. It's all collected there, and it's been recolored since the single issues. Of course, they've done reprints and stuff, so you can find it with the better colors there. But graphic novel is one of my favorite things to do. In DC, they have like a really strong graphic novel game. So definitely love picking up DC graphic novels. They're super easy to read and fun little contained stories that I've always liked. Like them better than Marvel's graphic novels because I don't know if it's the way DC does their stuff or what, but DC's always seems self-contained, and it's always really nice, where Marvel, I feel like I still need to pick up some other stuff to kind of get it, unless it's the entire series, you know, like when I picked up, and we'll talk about that probably another month, is the Superior Foes of Spider-Man. You know, I have all volumes of that, and when you read them all together, self-contained feels great, but if you read one volume of that, it feels really empty, and so I don't know. That's why I like DC graphic novels better than I like Marvel graphic novels. Anyway, moving on, because I'm speaking on there. Batman Year One happens after Crisis on Infinite Earths, which that's a story, crazy story, where like this guy called the Anti-Monitor, he like flips the multiverse like completely upside down, destroying Earths, merging them, giving us all like terrifying scare. All the superheroes going crazy, people are dying, it's all kinds of nuts. Thank God we all get saved because Darkseid just happens to be in the neighborhood, and he's kind of like, well, you know, I want to rule the universe and I ain't gonna let this fool do it before me. And so that all kinds of happens. Of course, it involves like Superman, multiple heroes of all kinds. It gets pretty crazy. It's I never read Crisis on Infinite Earths. I probably need to pick that up. I'm guessing that's a pretty big deal to pick up. I have read Marvel Secret Wars, and I'm guessing it's kind of like the same thing. I don't know. Anyway, so after all that happened, now we have this new Earth, and our heroes are all getting updated, getting kind of new origin stories, if you will. Of course, this one, Batman Year One, is about Bruce Wayne and Jim Gordon, them kind of getting started, and it's very similar to his previous origin. I mean, there's not much change. Really, the only thing is they update the time period, and that's pretty much it. You know, it does have a grittier feel. It does have like a more like feel. You can kind of see where the movies get their Batman from, like the Christopher Nolan and the newer Batmans. I feel like they do definitely heavily pull from Frank Miller's work. Wow, punch me in the face. Anyway, so I don't know, it was really cool. Of course, I'm a huge fan of Jim Gordon. If you've listened to my podcast, I've talked how much I've liked the Batman New 52 run when Jim gets to be Batman. I really dig that. So, in getting to see him in year one, he's still freaking badass, which I really love. I feel like he's always been a badass, man. But you definitely get to see it. It's very highlighted here. It's as much as Jim's origin story as it is Bruce's origin story, which I really enjoy here. So, let's talk about the issues. Of course, if you haven't read this yet, spoilers are ahead. It has been out since 1986, so that's what, 30 years? Yeah, it's been over 30 years now, so you kind of don't have an excuse, right? Anyway, so we started with issue 1 of the story, or issue number 404 of the entire series. You have Bruce and Jim Gordon both entering the city of Gotham, and you can tell it's an ugly place right away. The cops are dirtier than the streets are, and it's just nasty, man. Jim Gordon has his sights set. He's going to, clean up the streets. He doesn't realize how bad the police are dirty yet, but he's slowly starting to figure that out. Of course, Bruce learns, or he's going looking for trouble. He's trying to figure out how he's going to get vengeance for his parents dying, fix Gotham, fix the heart of Gotham, stuff like that. He goes out into the streets looking for trouble, which is probably something that's not hard to find in Gotham, let's be honest here. He learns a very important lesson right away. He needs to be patient, because when you're impatient, you feel major pain, and that's what he gets here. He also learns guns, big owie, man. He gets shot, and it's not good right there. But then we move on to issue number 4. So both the Batman and Lieutenant Gordon are making names for themselves. Jim Gordon, of course, is popular with the public, the press, and he's rubbing, the right people the wrong way, so to speak. Of course, Batman is rubbing the corrupt bad people the right way, I guess, in a way. I don't know. They're rubbing people, and not in that weird way, but they're doing it in the right way. And so they're both making the names for themselves. Of course, the crooked Commissioner Loeb and all the elite gang people, they all want Batman taken care of. So Jim Gordon, of course, is sent to do it. Of course, he wants to stop him because he's a vigilante. This is his city. The police need to take care of everything. And so finally, when Jim does come face to face with Batman, he and his partner are actually able to chase him into an abandoned building. And that's when the SWAT team arrives and literally brings down the house. It's pretty crazy stuff, and it's pretty exciting. And his partner is Essen, Sergeant Essen, and she's going to be playing an important role in Jim Gordon's life next issue. Actually, some in this issue too. It's some pretty crazy stuff. Everything, man, it's pretty gritty. That's dark. All of it's dark, man. No one escapes. Anyway, so in the next issue, 406, or issue 3 of this, Batman gets to work on his greatest escape yet. He's in the building, SWAT team's coming in on him. Everything's on fire. It's just all kinds of crazy. There's 18 SWAT guys and only one of him. But of course, Batman does have a team of his own. He just, with the press of a button on the bottom of his shoe, ultrasonic device, which gets all the bats in the area and totally just brings everyone's nightmares to life. If I saw this in real life, I would cry. I would probably die, and I would shit myself. It would be just terrible, terrifying, and just like that, man. Of course, Batman's able to escape with that. Jim Gordon and his wife Barbara begin having a lot of problems in their relationship and their marriage. Of course, Barbara, she's pregnant with their first child. They find out it's a boy. So that's good news, right? And but they're having all kinds of problems. And then Jim, of course, he makes things not even worse by starting up an office romance with Sergeant Essen. And, that's really not going to make things better, Jim. You need to fix that. You quit being a little horn dog. I know you're a badass, but you need to stop. Anyway, you also get to see more Selena Kyle. She's in, since the beginning, you see her. She's a prostitute in here who eventually, in this issue, punches out her pimp and decides it's time to start a new career. She goes out and buys a cat suit, and now she's going to be a cat burglar. Sorry, that was a bad pun. Well, it's DC's fault, man. Anyway, and then in the last issue of the story where everything kind of comes to a head, Jim Gordon ends things with Sergeant Essen, and she decides, I'm going to move to Chicago because this is toxic being here. We made a mistake. We shouldn't have done it. And then Gordon also fesses up to his wife before things could get really out of hand. Of course, that doesn't make things great between them, but, coming clean, telling the truth, and then deciding, hey, I want to fix this relationship and work with it. They get a marriage counselor, which is great for them. Kudos to them. I'm so happy. They're real people to me. Of course, Bruce Wayne ends up meeting Jim Gordon face to face as Bruce. Gordon is trying to check out his alibis, you know, trying to, because he, like Essen mentioned that he could be Batman. His parents died a long time ago. I guess that's good enough reason to dress up as a bat and start like punching the shit out of everyone. Which, yeah, I mean, he's rich. Some rich person would have to be able to afford all the gadgets and gear that Batman uses. I mean, it's obvious, right? I mean, you look at it and you're like, wow, he's like the richest guy in the city. He's kind of a loner. Not even in a relationship or anything like that. He's been gone for how many years, and as soon as he comes back, like the next few weeks, you know, this dude in a mask starts beating up on people. I mean, I'm not a detective, but I think I solved the case, guys. Let's see where else we go here. Of course, Jim does make progress on cleaning up the police department. He ends up getting Flass, who is one of his sergeants, who's super corrupt, and of course the corrupt Commissioner Loeb. He ends up getting them out, and he gets promoted to captain, which is really great. Of course, Loeb tried like ordering a hit on Jim Gordon, and the guy like steals his baby, like punches out his wife, all kinds of crazy shit, and it ends with this crazy chase with Jim Gordon and Bruce Wayne's on his motorcycle. It's during the day, so he's not dressed up as Batman. And then like the guy with the baby like falls over the bridge. The baby's falling. Bruce comes jumping out of nowhere over a bridge, saves the baby. They end up getting the hitman. Like, it's nuts. Like, it's crazy. It's suspenseful. If you've never read it before, it's really awesome. And so what's great is Bruce, of course, saves the baby, gives him back to Jim Gordon, and Jim's glasses have fallen off. He goes, you know, son, I have really terrible eyesight, so, you know, I can't really make out who you are, but if you leave now, you know, no one will ever know. But, I mean, I feel like he knows. Like, I mean, my eyesight's bad, but I think if, like, in that proximity, I could make out who it is or whatever. I don't know. You know, it's him, whatever. And now, at the final scene in these comics, you get to see him and the Batman now starting to work together, and it turns out there's a new villain on the loose in Gotham who calls himself the Joker. So that, you know, that's a cool little introduction into what's going to come next with the story. Put that all over there. And so, but it's a really good book. I really enjoy it. I like this retelling of Batman and Jim Gordon. It's nice. It is gritty, which I guess when you've read a lot of gritty stories or you've seen, like, you kind of get tired of the dark and the gritty kind of stuff, but honestly in here it works really well. It's a great story. Of course, in 1986, well, I won't say it's the first time, because of course we had The Dark Knight Returns, which Miller did before this, you know, so he tells like Batman's ending, kind of like the end story, and then comes back to retell the beginning. So it's kind of interesting and really neat how everything works out. But I think it's a really great story. I think if there's one Batman book you need to read, I feel like this is one of them, man. It's fantastic. The artwork in it is great. I love the matted colors of it all. I love just the backgrounds, how just everything feels warm and dark all at the same time. And there's scenes where it feels cold, you know, but like reading that book gives you feelings when you're reading it. And I'm not talking about like feelings, cry, but I mean like you feel the atmosphere that this story is taking place in, which I really like about that, and I think it's really awesome. Of course, the story is really great. It doesn't get too bogged down with words. There is some narration in there, which I like, but getting to see all these characters, you get to see Harvey Dent in here, Selena Kyle, Bruce, Alfred, who has a little bit of moments where he's, you know, kind of being a little bit funny, but there's not too much humor in this book. One of my, and like I've mentioned it before, but probably my favorite thing in here is getting to see Jim Gordon's story. I love Jim Gordon a lot. It's not because I'm in law enforcement. It had nothing to do with that. And not because my father is a police officer, but I just really dig the story. I like his story. He's a regular guy just trying to do good. And I like that. I like heroes that are like that. Like Luke Cage. I love Luke Cage. Because, yes, he's super powerful and, like, impenetrable skin, but he's just a dude. He's just a dad trying to make the world better for his daughter. Like, that's all he is, and I love that. And that's how I feel Jim Gordon. Like, I feel Jim Gordon. I feel like I could be Jim Gordon in another world. And so that's why I really dig this story. But that's also why I wanted this to be the first one on the cover for this year. It's a great story. If you're not reading it, you're missing out. So go to hell, Barnes & Noble, Amazon's got it for fairly cheap, I'm pretty sure. So go check those out. If you want to borrow my copy, you're going to have to find me. But I'll let you borrow it. I have no problem. Actually, I had a friend come by, and he and his wife wanted to read some comics. And I said, well, hey, I got these. And there were some comics that they were looking into that they just didn't want to buy all the collected editions. I said, here, take my singles. Here, I have like the complete stories of these. Take them, read them. I'll get them back, or you'll bring them back. Like, they will come back, or I will find you. I was trying to pop in. No, yeah, there we go. Pop my knuckles all cool like. But that's it for the video portion of the Bry-Fy Podcast. Like I said, thank you guys for watching on YouTube, and everyone who's listening on Podbean, Stitcher, iTunes, wherever, or whatever podcast capturing device that you're